Youngblood. I'm a current student at Liberty University pursuing a degree in a master's degree in communications. I'm currently in a course by the name of Communication Theory and Practices, led by Dr. Clifford Kelly. And today I'm going to go over the Sociolinguistics theory. That's a mouthful. So I'm also going to provide an overview of the theory, speech and society differentials, a brief history about the theory itself, discuss different dialectics within the theory, and close it out with a biblical worldview perspective on the theory and tie the two together. So, what is sociolinguistics? This is the study of language in social and cultural context and how speech changes in different situations. So, not only does it change in the different situations, but it depends on who you are, where you come from, and your background. So, your gender and your age, your ethnicity, your race, your religion, all play a part in sociolinguistics. So, it's also important to note that sociolinguistics is a type of sociocultural tradition. I originally did my paper on sociocultural tradition, and which was incorrect. So this theory is within the type of sociocultural tradition, which is understanding the meanings and norms and roles and rules that impact communication in many ways. So, speech and society. So the way you talk has a huge impact on your social identity. So whether it's the punctuation you use, it's your word choice, your grammar, your hand motions when you talk like I'm doing, all have an impact on the sociolinguistics theory. So there are strong social beliefs and attitudes associated with certain ways of speaking. It's important to note that the attitudes are social norms, but not objective facts about language itself. So it's important to note that. I found that in my research, and so I wanted to definitely elaborate on that. Within our textbook with Littlejohn and Foss, I found this quote that I thought was very applicable to this theory because, and I'll just read it, everything you say in a group can help or hurt to make the group what it is. And your actions either help or hurts to shape the work that group is doing. So essentially, everything you're saying and you're doing affects the view someone may have on you. So it's a social aspect, and that's what the sociolinguistics theory is about. Just to give you a little brief history about sociolinguistics theory, because why not, and it's interesting. You have William Labaugh, who is an American linguist, and he did a study back in 1966, commonly referred to as the fourth floor study. And basically what this theory was is he decided to go into 3 department stores in New York and test out this theory to see what he could find and what he could determine. So he walked into these department stores and he asked them a series of questions that made them give the response the 4th floor. So he walked in and said, hey, excuse me, where are the women's coats? And they would respond, 4th floor. Well, he did it in 3 different department stores, and so you had one that was a very expensive upper class department store, and then you had the second one that was kind of a middle class average department store with average prices, and then you had one that was more for low income families that was more of a discount store. So when he walked into all 3 of these, just to give you a quick answer, he found that the higher socioeconomical status department stores pronounce the R more frequently than those of lower socioeconomic status. So basically, you had somebody going 4th floor as opposed to the 4th floor. So So anyways, it's a very interesting study that he did to kind of prove this theory and the facts that go along with it. So within, switching gears a little bit, within the sociolinguistics theory, there are several dialects, okay? So you have the regional cultural dialects, which is kind of obvious that it plays on the geographical region of where someone might be. So, for instance, someone from Australia or from Europe is going to have different views, different social aspects about themselves that is different than from someone from the United States. Additionally, you have the social dialects, which kind of leads into that. You have age, gender, ethnicity, socioeconomic class, like we just talked about a second ago. So depending on your age, depending on your gender, depending on your ethnicity, the social aspects are affected by that. So it's important to realize that, because sociolinguistic theory is the study of the language between those. Situational dialects, that would be personally in a workplace, I handle myself a little bit differently than I would with friends. Whether it's the language that I talk, I'm a bit more slang at home and with my friends than I am at work, where I'm supposed to be professional. So that's just an example, and I have written there formal and informal. That's exactly what I'm talking about. So the situational dialectics of sociolinguistics theory is also very important. Okay, so this is kind of funny. I thought I'd share it because I found it to be very true. But sociolinguistics, an example of sociolinguistics theory is the northern versus the southern sociolinguistic. I'm not sure if you can pick up, but I'm from Alabama. And I say y'all a lot. I originally, I've spent time in different countries and also in Pennsylvania, which to me is pretty foreign compared to where I'm from. But basically, just this, you can see on this little map, the northern part and the western part of the United States commonly say "you guys" when they're referring to a group of people. But it's very common as someone from the South to refer as group of people as y'all. So that's just a linguistic example, even within our own country, that's super simple to be able to apply and understand. So a biblical worldview of sociolinguistics. So I can't really compare the two in any other way other than saying, despite the different cultures around the world, the different languages, the ages and the genders, nationalities in general, one thing that is comforting is that Christ remains the same. Having lived I've lived in South Africa and Ghana and Egypt, I can tell you we've been to several different churches, and it is consistent. The gospel is consistent, no matter where they are. So the way the gospel is being preached and the language used, it may vary, the language, but the actual message itself stays true. I really like this verse from Hebrews 13:8 through 9. Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forever. Do not be carried away by all the kinds of strange teaching. So there it is, right there. Stay true biblically to what we were supposed to be, and speak true. All right, and then I'll close out with this Bible verse, which I really thought to be fitting. So he was given glory, he was given authority, glory, and sovereign power. All nations and peoples of every language worshiped him. His dominion is an everlasting dominion that will not pass away, and his kingdom is one that will never be destroyed. And that's Daniel 7:14. So I just to close out, linguistics theory was a very interesting topic, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. So I hope you did too.